Probability Stream, live from the burned over district.
Welcome to the Bill Mullane Show, episode 2 of season 2. I need to start getting a couple more likes on this podcast, people, for my own sanity, because I'm starting to feel like a little bit like the Bjork stalker, you know? Just like every one of these is feeling like it's more and more like just a series of manifestos that I'm doing. And it's the look too. I mean, especially with these glasses. Like, I just got out of the shower and that, and like looking at myself on here, and I go, man, do I look like I'm hiding secrets? You can be honest, man. I look like it looks like there's something. There should be some tape on here, and not in the classic Saved by the Bell nerd way. More like the guy you just don't trust around your family, you know, kind of way. But this episode might be taking I'm assuming, it has to. At this point, this episode has to mark a turn in the show to some degree, because I'm not doing the same shit that I was doing last year. Like, look, I'm going to try not to ramble, man. I've talked to my friends, family, and that. They tell me, no, stop rambling. It's really, really fucking tough to do, guys. It's really, really hard to do that. Rambling is just my mode of conversation. How do you take out what makes me? And I go like, well, is that a passion? Like, I guess it is. It's like my passion is to ramble. So I don't think this will ever pick up anybody, and that's okay. I'm probably not going to be releasing as many because I'm busy. I'm working on a novel, and this book is very atmospheric. And so that just means that I'm spending a lot of hours diving into it and writing. So if I'm not up to recording something, then I'm not going to. But this also needs to have a point, more of a point than it's had over here. As you know, it's just been an amalgamation of my different fascinations, you know, music. And I think like anybody who listened last year to the October episodes in Halloween knows that I think you know that I can write a story and narrate it, I think, decently. So, you know, whatever. Anyway, the real point of this podcast, get past the introduction rambling there, the real point of this, I think, is that I believe it or not, I like I've said many times on this show, but I think I've failed to do. So I'm kind of like the president. I'm making a lot of promises, but I'm not following through on any of them. And if I am, they're probably things you don't want actually happening. They're not going about the way you thought they would. But that's okay. Stick with me, all right? I promise I don't have as many dark secrets as that fucking guy. So that's good. That's good. You're a step above listening to me instead of him. And I'll tell you why else that's a step above, because I realized the only way I can really help, like that's what I was getting to. Did I even say that? I don't think so. So the thing I've repeated that I don't think I've done enough of is I actually love and enjoy helping people, and I've said this many times, but does anything I do on the show actually help anybody? Does anybody use this therapeutically? Let me know, because that's really the ultimate goal. I found after making my first $1 million that money's not the answer to everything. I'll just let that roll. If you believe me or not, that's up to you. But it's true in that there's always a hole inside of all of us, man. There's an emptiness. No matter what you go through, I've noticed this even in just small things, man. You hit milestones, right? It's good to have goals and milestones. And then I hit one, and there's just like there's that burst of satisfaction. Like, yeah, I've done that. Like, even doing this very podcast was just like it was just a fucking way for me to fill that cavernous hole that's just embedding inside of me every day and night that I, couldn't fill with booze and bullshit anymore. So I'm like, all right. So the podcast does that. It did. And just like everything else, you hit it and you're like, all right. And then immediately followed by it is just another deep, long, empty void. So I'm trying to fill your holes, people. That's what this whole show's about. Let Bill Mullane fill your holes. All right. So the best way, I've been thinking anyway, this is the newest way I think that I might be able to help some people. Let me make sure I cover the name of what I'm drinking here so I don't have to get busted by the thousands who are going to spread this video around, and then they'll go, hey, is that a sponsor? They aren't. Anyway, the way I figure I can maybe help people, because it's hard for me. The thing that gets hard with this is I'm talking. That's all I'm essentially doing here. And as if you've been listening along at all, I love to talk, and that's the main reason I do the podcast here, is just it's like an outlet for me to vent to myself and babble. But I've always, and the reason it's just an outlet to vent and babble is because all my life I'd never considered talking to have any sort of value. So the thing I love to do most, I've always assumed, is just valueless, just pointless. No one wants to hear you talk. I'm such an idiot because it's so obvious that talking is therapeutic. I mean, it is therapy. What is therapy? It's talking to each other. So maybe that's what I'm doing. Maybe I'm giving you something to listen to and drift off to sleep, or even just help calm your nerves. Now, see, I don't know if I'm the best person to do that. So what I'm getting at is I figured this out, of course, you know where I figured it out. It was in the shower, you know that. Dipping my, washing my ass in the shower, of course. That's where I figured it all out, man. Shower thoughts, And so the last thing I thought of was like, well, I guess what I can do is give people a different, talk something topical, like I was talking about last week, and give you a different view on it. What would be different? Because I'm not just going to sit here and rattle off the news, the latest. So the latest things, to get them out of the way, though, it would be, well, that's where it'll start. So I'll start with that. The latest thing in the news of any sort that should matter right now is, the fucking joke of, the Trump DOJ sending his, lawyer from the DOJ to go visit Ghislaine Maxwell, who goes back home to her prison cell with a box full of goodies. And this really is, if there's any message I can spread out of this, it's that people should make their voices heard, to hear from the victims, because the victims of these fucking people are the ones that we should be paying attention to, not Ghislaine Maxwell, a sex trafficker and horrible criminal. And why are we asking them? So anyway, that's my point. I'm not just going to dive into just that. That's what happened. That's what's happened, and she's seeking a pardon. Surprise, surprise, right? But just mentioning that stuff, and then what? This is crooked, people, spread the word. And maybe that's helpful. And spreading that around and trying to get people to focus on it and not get distracted by the, whatever, the Obama and all that shit that Trump's talking about, whatever. Like I see people posting on some of the, I guess, 30% of Republicans who still support the guy, come in and say things like, about how horrible Obama was trying to meddle in the election and stop Trump and interfering with this, and we should all be scared of that. Wait, you mean he was trying to stop this disgusting, horrendous, pedophile fascist from taking office and destroying the country and shitting on the Constitution? He was trying to stop that? All right, there's, at least that's a crime I can somewhat stand behind, I have no problem with that. So anyway, I'm not, Anyhow, don't fall for all the distractions and bullshit, and that's the different perspective that I have to give you is not the easiest for most people to hear, because it's about personal responsibility, and it's more about focusing on the role that we all play individually in what's going on in our world today. Now, I want to preface this with, first, we had to have Trump, man. You had to have this insanity. I mean, I look at it and I go, well, me personally, I would have, as I've told you, would have rather had Bernie. But even this last election, I guess I'm not a Democrat, but would rather have had Kamala Harris than Trump, clearly. But with Harris, had Harris won, there'd be a lot more current peace, right? But really, would anything be getting solved? No. Like on a grand scheme, right? It's a lot of status quo that you're going to get. And, but all these are the steps we need to take to, okay. Let's not get down the rabbit hole of how we should vote in years to come and all that. Because this is my perspective is a little different than that. We look at Trump, what do we have in office? We got this guy. No, he's not fixing anything. That's not where I was going with that. But I do feel that he is the symptom of a seriously sick and corrupt system that goes across both parties, and it needs to be dismantled and it needs to be replaced by something much better. My personal opinion, I believe the government itself is going to be a supercomputer within the next 20 years, 30 years. I don't think it'll take longer than 2050 until the government is essentially one AI computer system. So, which is not something to be feared. That's a good thing, because this is government in the sense of what government is supposed to do, which is help mediate the best outcome for people on a large scale, for a mass. So, don't be scared of that. It's not like, computers are going to take over. Yeah, they're going to take over the politician jobs. Are you really worried about that? Yeah, don't be a politician. Nobody wants you anyway, so, yeah, it shouldn't sadden you. You're going to have plenty of things to do. So the way to look at it, though, is that Trump is a necessary picture of the sickness that this country is. And my God, it's not hard to see, man. I mean, he is the epitome of all of it, of everything that's wrong with the world. I mean, starting with number one being the pedophilia, of course, and then, but just a corrupt, guy with mob ties. So just theft and murder, is involved there. He's involved in those things. He looks like a slimy, sleazebag, sexist game show host. Like, you cannot get a pen and paper, pencil and paper, whatever, and draw a better just picture of just ugly fascism, racism, sexism, homophobia, all of it, rolled into one slimy car salesman game show host. You can't fucking make this guy up, man. I'm a writer, and I'm not saying I'm the best in the world, but my brain's constantly going. Like, one thing I was gonna open this show with, maybe I'll open it with this now, and this is how I ramble, but don't worry, I'll get back to what I was saying. In science class, in I don't know, it had to be 4th, 5th grade, maybe early middle school, but you learned about how everything is atoms. All matter is made up of atoms, and then you put them under a microscope, and when you do that, you see that everything is vibrating. Every atom is vibrating, and they tell you that. And then I guess all the other kids go, all right. But me, I went like, wait, can we talk about that a little more? Everything's vibrating? And other kids, just shut up, hippie. I want to buy a big house when I get older. And there I am. Is the big house vibrating too? Like, that's how my mind works, right? I want to get into the details of things and understand how things work. And so, getting back to what I was saying, I can, my mind is constantly working. I can write and create characters. I can't create a character that depicts corruption better than Donald Trump. And so, why? You have to start asking. Okay, we can all hash over why MAGA is, I don't want to be that rude, but just so fucking stupid that they could fall for this guy, right? I don't want to just call a whole lump of people stupid. I know people I thought were very intelligent who liked the guy, and I guess most of them just kind of overlook all the bullshit because he makes it okay for them to be hateful in their heart, I guess. So you can be intelligent and still be full of hate. So I guess that Donald Trump taught us that about some people, and you can be very dumb and full of hate as well, clearly. But so we can analyze to death why people voted for him and all that. But fact of the matter is, we are where we are right now, and analyzing that and talking about that doesn't really change any of it, right? So let me make one more side note, which is just to touch on one of the things I said last week, and I'll probably end every show with or mention at some point that you never change the world you're on. What you do is you change yourself, and this goes into the vibration, right? Because every molecule in your body is vibrating, so you have a signature vibration, a signature frequency. And so what you do is as you change your belief system, your body vibrates at a different rate, and that rate, as you change, is shifting into worlds that are reflective of that frequency, of that rate, of what you now believe in and what you now see. And we have a consensus agreement that we all agree to. Not all of us. Some of us don't see the consensus reality, and we call them insane, and we lock them in loony bins and stuff. You know that. So it's important to have that foundational understanding. Probably anytime you listen to this show, you should probably know that, all right, yeah, this is the guy who knows that you're not changing the world, you're changing yourself, right? That's the basis. Maybe I'll find somewhere to tag that in the description or something, I don't know. But you change yourself. So the world we're all currently experiencing, the consensus agreement we all have right now is this collective reality in which this fucking slimy, sexist pervert bastard. And I don't like even just because you can be a pervert and still be like a fundamentally, ethical person. You just, overwhelmed with lust. I think calling him a pervert and stuff and sexist even just downgrades it, makes it sound easy. The guy is a monster, a serious serial sexual predator, a guy who belongs in prison and nowhere else. So, especially because that type of mentality, like the mentality he's reflecting in the world we're all agreeing to see, is a monstrous one, and a man like that doesn't change that mindset. He doesn't have the ability. I don't think he's a serial killer, but he's got the same level of empathy as one. So you're not going to fix that. Jeffrey Dahmer said, I wish someone could tell me why I have these compulsions. He wanted to know. He didn't know where they came from, and he just went with them. It's the same thing. It's Donald Trump to a T. He doesn't care to find why he's like he is, and he just rolls with it, and it's just who he is, and he ain't changing that. So why are we all experiencing it? Why are you experiencing it? What hell did you create in your last life? That's what we're going to dive into, people. No. I told you this is about blame. You put yourself in this hell now. What are you doing? But to be serious, there is that level of we need to take responsibility for it. And we need to understand why we're experiencing this world with him. It's reflective of all of our belief systems up to this point. Now, like I said last week, this is also the cycles of the earth, the cycles of humanity. And as humanity is collectively elevating itself, we are getting all of this negative bullshit up out of our systems. That's a beautiful thing. Individually, what you can do, though, is what we need to talk more about, because who are you? If you're listening to this, you're probably one of 20 people, 30 people maybe. Maybe I'll get lucky. Maybe I'll spend a couple bucks this week and put it into advertising. Like, I don't do that shit. So I'm going all organic, baby. I'm just letting this thing grow by chance. I don't know. So anyway, individually we have to talk about it. It was Jim Morrison, right? Jim Morrison who said the revolution has to happen on the inside first. I'm paraphrasing. And what old Jimmy meant by that is it's an understanding on a personal level that you are getting what you most believe to be true. You're getting that reflected everywhere we go. So this is not about ignoring Donald Trump, but everyone, if I could share this message that would help anyone, it is to take a little bit of time. I'm not going to guide a meditation on the show here like I did in the past and stuff, but take a little bit of time to reflect when you have a moment and start digging into your belief system. And it takes a level of responsibility to acknowledge this. And that is, I guess, maybe a core theme of just what was on my mind with it, because it's about taking responsibility. And this isn't just for the political issues today and Donald Trump and all that. This is for every level of your personal life, whether you've been a victim of any sort of abuse or anything. There's a point at which you have to take a responsibility, and most people hear that and they take it to mean blame. But responsibility has absolutely nothing to do with blaming. It's not a blame factor. It's your responsibility. What is responsibility? It's actually your ability to respond. So without taking responsibility, you actually take away your ability to respond to a situation in the way that you prefer to respond. So you have to own the situation if you want to change it. When you fight a situation and actively try against it, you are matching that frequency of that situation, of that other person, of that different scenario, whatever it might be. You're matching it, and therefore you're actually perpetuating it. This is an extremely difficult lesson for a lot of people. It's very easy to understand. I'm not saying that I'm some genius telling you profound wisdom and shit that you've never heard. You know this, or at least you've heard it before, or you can understand it hearing it now. But it's incredibly difficult to actually do that. And like I had to take, from my personal life, I had issues with my daughter's mother that gets into, she's a violent person, and there's abusive aspects, and she has a lot of her own traumas and things that she has to work through, and I haven't seen her in a long time, and I can only hope that she is working through them. Her stuff comes from her own abandonment issues and feelings of being told that she's not good enough. And these are issues that my daughter has struggled with as well. And I have. When I first learned that that I'm actually deserving, when I first changed that belief, I broke down into these insane tears and cried my eyes out. And it wasn't like it was just an unstoppable wave of emotion and liquid pouring out of the face. And I learned too that is actually when every time you create a belief, when you really solidify a belief system, your brain has to create chemicals that match that emotion, that are actually discharged every time you feel that emotion. Your entire body is washed in these chemicals. Whenever you have a feeling and a heavy emotion coming on, your body is washed in these chemicals. When you clear out a belief like that, your body physically has to wash out that chemical, and that's what the tears are about. So if you've ever experienced that and know what I'm talking about, well, leave a comment on this show. Maybe that would be unique. But the bottom line of it today, though, that I'm just ending with this, is just that is about taking responsibility. It's just the thing I've been thinking about a little bit more lately, because it's something that I've been doing, and some people that I talk to who have their own traumas and problems, it's a hard lesson to mention to them. It's a hard lesson to say. And I can go a little deeper into it, I guess, if I feel like that will help. But it's because you have to have a belief. You can't experience anything that you are not currently on the same wavelength with, okay? You can be listening to shit on Spotify, listening to this on Spotify. You know that means that someone else can simultaneously be watching it on YouTube, but you're not seeing it. You know what I mean? So you get only what you are already tuned into. So if you already have to tune into the TV station, or if you already have to put the Bill Mullane Show on Spotify, to hear it on Spotify and watch it on Spotify like you absolutely should be doing, or on YouTube. If you're putting it, if you have to put it on, take the action first to put on the show before you can see it, then where did we along the line get confused into thinking that you have to see things first? You know what I mean? Did you have to see that this was on YouTube before you were... I mean, I guess that's not the greatest analogy right there, because those are streaming services, right? You got to see it somewhere first. But point is, if there's a movie on a station, or this show is on YouTube, you got to turn on the computer, you got to turn on the laptop, you got to pull up YouTube to see it. You got to pull up Spotify, right? You're not going to see it before you take that action. So that means you have to take the action first. You have to set the example. You have to take the action. You have to tune into the reality you prefer, or you're not going to see it. You might see an advertisement Bill Mullane's face go by on a bus. Hey, Bill Mullane Show. Yeah, that's right. What is that? What's that about? But then it's gone out of your life until you tune into it on YouTube and go, oh, okay, that's Bill Mullane. That's this guy teaching me the life lessons I need right now. So, yeah, does that clear it up? Am I articulating it well enough? Are there questions anybody has? This is why I do need to get guests on too, because then at least this idea can bounce off of somebody. At least I'll know if I'm getting my point across, because this all makes sense to me, but I could sound like a complete nutcase to anybody else. I have no fucking idea. How would I know that? So I know if you leave comments, so do that. Couple of things. I'm trying to do the show now a little faster anyway. I'm going to start doing it, recording them maybe the day of releasing it or the day before, so that I'm more topical and more up to date with what I'm talking about at the moment. But generally, it's going to have ideas from other things I've thought about throughout the week. I'll still bring you comedy bits and stuff when I come up with them, or songs when I have time to record them and different things. So fuck it, I'm still going to put them in there. But I can't promise them every week. Like this week is probably just this. So I want to leave this with a decent lesson, a decent theme. Make it worth your time to have listened for half an hour to Bill babble. Babble and Bill. The last, so to tie it up, to put a bow on it, as they say. If you hear a buzz in the background right now, my air conditioner kicked on, so please ignore. To wrap it up, what I'm saying is you have to be the change you wish to see. So you have to tune into the frequency first before you can see the reality actually reflect back to you your new belief system. This is ancient. This is not new from me, but this is very, very important, I believe, in order to understand how we, quote unquote, get the pedo out of the White House. Okay? Take the action. So this also goes, like, this isn't to be confused, and I think this is an important distinction to make, and I think it'll be a fine way to wrap up the show then, is this doesn't mean just sit around wishy-washy and fucking think, like, oh, I live in a perfect world and this is all going to be wonderful now that I believe it. I believe it. You'll just sit around lying to yourself and not doing anything because you're not taking any action. Action in order for anything to change, it has to be grounded in physical reality. The language of physical reality is action. The language of the higher mind is emotion. So you communicate through, emotion, excitement. I want to do this. I want to change something in my reality. Take the action. And okay, there you go. So the point is to act. Begin. All of us. Begin acting and knowing that you're tuning into a world that is exploding out the corruption. Donald Trump, the greasy snake oil salesman, whatever you want to call him, sick, demented monster, is out of the office, is out of political office, gone. And as we're going to be moving the show into as well, talking about open contact with other civilizations around the galaxies, around the universe. Because come on, people, you know it's a scientific impossibility for there not to be. There's a lot of proof that they've been here for many, many years. And I know there's people, scholarly types, that would debate that all day online and say, no, there's not really any existence of them and no proof. Let's not get into too much of that unless I have someone like that to talk to on here. Otherwise, we will get into more of those topics as we dive along and swim throughout the upcoming weeks here and talk all about all of these things and how you can make a difference in your reality by believing it and acting it. So act, behave as though we are over this already, that this guy is gone. Know that. Be excited. Know that Donald Trump has to. This can't last, people. This is an explosion. It's gone. It's over. There's never been anything. It's unprecedented, right? The level of open corruption and disgust that's coming out from the trickling down. That's the only trickle down we've probably ever gotten from the Republican Party too. Just trickling down the pedo shit, So, and corruption. So don't be disparaged. Don't disparage. Don't be a down. Don't unless you choose to be. If you want to be, that's fine. But if you rather be a little more optimistic, I'm here to tell you that you have a reason to be. This is the symbol. These are the signs. Is Ghislaine Maxwell gonna rat him out and all this gonna happen? I doubt it. Doubtful. But it's gonna explode into something, and it's gonna be gone. It's gonna be removed. I can guarantee you that. I'm gonna sit here and call it. I might sound like a maniac. Is this guy trying to predict the future now on this show? Maybe I should start doing predictions. Sounds fun. I don't know. But hey, people, listen. I didn't have a whole ton of jokes for you. Didn't have a song for you this week. Just a lesson to take responsibility, as in own it. Know that we collectively together can change it. And if change it means taking action, take action any way that you can. Me right now, I work from home on a computer all day. So it's it's an easy slide. It's a simple transition into just, all right, I'll flip on, Riverside or whatever I'm recording the podcast on this week and start talking, and maybe I can share the message. Try to say that this is somewhat a part of me trying to do something. It's me putting into the world this point that we are living in a beautiful world. And this world is only going up. It's only evolving. We're only getting better. We're getting all this out of our system. So enjoy the ride, people. Enjoy that. Love yourself. Love the world you're in. And the pedos and corruption will trickle away and disappear. It's a nice way to end, I think. I probably should have some good music in the background here or something going, huh? Hey, people, listen. I love you. I will always love you. You're all reflections of myself anyway, right? Something like that. I don't know, but I'll try and get something a little something else together for next week. We'll see where this goes. The DFL podcast will be starting up soon. The Bills are in training camp, so we're gonna. I have my podcast on football. If you like that shit, we'll be talking about that over there. That'll be coming up soon. Brothers McCarb, of course. Halloween's coming up. A couple of months. I'm saying coming up because I can't wait. So I'll be ready to bring you a bunch of shit then too. I think I'm just gonna have to stop this here. Stop it like that. And listen, like, comment, subscribe to the podcast, share it. Share it with people that you think might benefit from the message, from these messages. From I know the roundabout way I have of bringing it out. I'm gonna try and get better at that. That's probably the problem. I'm trying to get better instead of just getting better at it. I don't know. Let me know if I'm getting a little better. That's it. Thank you for tuning in, making this your chosen probability stream for this week, and or for this hour on this Saturday. And be the change you wish to see, people, and enjoy the ride. I'll see you next week.